So you're aiming to become more disciplined? That's great. Discipline is about doing what you'd rather avoid, but doing it as though you enjoy it. Success is impossible without it. Discipline is the key to unlocking your best self. If you can embrace it, your entire life can shift, and this guide will explain in straightforward terms how to achieve that transformation. The most rewarding parts of life are on the other side of discipline. Once you cultivate it, discipline becomes a kind of superpower. My life took a complete turn when I started asking myself one critical question. What can I do today that my future self will thank me for? For years, I let myself down. I lacked structure and commitment. During school, even sitting down to study felt like an insurmountable task. Any kind of work seemed daunting. At night, I'd feel inspired, creating an ambitious plan for the next day and telling myself, tomorrow will be different. I'm going to tackle everything and turn my life around. But when the next day arrived, all that inspiration seemed to disappear. My focus was scattered, and I'd find excuses to avoid starting. Comfort always felt like the easier option. Eventually, I identified and addressed the issue that had been holding me back. Now, I'm here to share this with you. If you truly listen to what I'm about to explain, it could drastically change your life. The transformation will be so significant that even those around you will notice the difference. I came to understand that the thing I was missing wasn't motivation. It was discipline. I had plenty of motivation, but I'd never developed the habit of discipline. Here's the truth. You don't need motivation to succeed. While it's helpful when it's there, discipline is what will carry you through when motivation fades. Discipline is like a muscle. Just as you build physical strength in the gym, you can train your discipline, making it stronger with consistent effort. The best part? There's no limit to how much you can strengthen it. Once I realized how much of my potential I was wasting because I lacked discipline, I decided to make a change. Procrastination comes with a heavy cost, the life you could have lived. Think about how much potential is lost because we let ourselves get caught up in distractions rather than focusing on what truly matters. When you begin to strengthen your discipline, you'll see that motivation is unreliable. It won't show up every day, but discipline will. One way to build discipline is by seeing challenges and resistance as opportunities to grow, chances to sharpen your resolve and push yourself further. For instance, one of the biggest hurdles I face regularly is going to the gym. For the past several months, I've been getting up at 6 a.m. to work out, and honestly, most mornings I don't feel like it. My mind comes up with reasons to stay in bed a little longer. On really tough days, it even tries to convince me to skip the workout altogether. But I remind myself that conquering this resistance is what strengthens my discipline. Looking back, I've noticed something interesting. I've never regretted completing a tough task I set for myself. However, I've regretted skipping those tasks far too many times. Isn't it strange how our minds instinctively steer us away from the very challenges that help us grow? This is why developing discipline is so important. Your life improves dramatically when you trade the guilt and regret of avoiding responsibilities for a sense of achievement and self-respect. Once I grasped this, it became clear. You can't always rely on your mind because it naturally gravitates toward ease and comfort. To consistently push past doubts and hesitation when faced with difficult tasks, like those early mornings when I don't feel like exercising, you need to detach from your temporary emotions. Understand that your brain is hardwired to pick the path of least resistance. Embrace this mindset instead. I'll acknowledge the discomfort, but I'll push forward anyway. The key to staying consistent is setting non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are the backbone of discipline. They create a framework where, regardless of your mood, you complete your commitments because they're not open for discussion. For me, my non-negotiables include waking up at 6 a.m. every day to work out and dedicating at least 2 hours to focused, productive work. By holding myself to these minimum standards, I ensure steady progress, and over time that progress leads to meaningful outcomes. Now it's your turn. Define your own non-negotiables. Choose small but impactful habits you'll commit to every single day. Things that will move you closer to your goals. Make sure they're realistic enough that you can stick to them consistently. The secret lies in doing them day in and day out. This is what discipline boils down to. Following through, even when you don't feel motivated, simply because you've made the decision to do it. Let's face it, there will be plenty of times when you won't feel like doing what you've set out to do. I can't count the times I didn't want to sit down for deep work, especially when there was something more fun begging for my attention. But in the end, I did it anyway. And what did I gain? A stronger ability to stay disciplined, making future challenges easier to tackle. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. This idea took me a long time to fully understand. In the past, I'd skip workouts, leave dishes in the sink, and let my room become a mess. I didn't realize that these small habits were quietly chipping away at my ability to stay disciplined. It might sound odd, but hear me out. Ignoring these minor responsibilities made it easier to let other areas of my life slide. We'll tell ourselves things like, "I'll get to that task later," or "Skipping my diet today won't hurt. I'll fix it tomorrow." These negative habits piled up, weakening my discipline. Choosing the easy route became my default, and every challenging task started to feel like an impossible mountain to climb. But the small everyday actions are what truly build discipline. Now, if clothes are on the floor, I pick them up without hesitation. This creates momentum. I realize that if I can't manage the small stuff, how can I expect to tackle the big goals? These little acts of discipline spark a chain reaction. They create a rhythm that makes larger tasks less overwhelming. More importantly, they reshape your self-image. You start seeing yourself as someone who's disciplined, and that mindset shift is incredibly powerful. I've often wondered, why do we put so much effort into avoiding difficult tasks? Why do we treat things like exercising or tackling challenging work as burdens, when in reality, these are opportunities for growth? These are the moments that allow us to transform through effort, to grow a little more each day, gradually becoming the best version of ourselves. Why do we sabotage our progress? If we truly want to be more disciplined, we must choose to face challenges. Hitting the gym might be tough, but isn't being unhealthy even tougher? Studying for an exam may feel daunting, but isn't failing and facing the consequences even worse? When you start viewing discipline through this lens, it becomes second nature. I'll leave you with this thought. Will you choose the short-term struggle of discipline or the long-term pain of regret? The choice is entirely yours. Remember, real growth comes from effort and persistence.